Today I'm making chocolate chip cookie mix in a jar, and I do this not necessarily to gift it, although you can do that, but just for the convenience in my own pantry. I have 7 children, and so this makes it so they can very quickly and easily go and make some cookies, myself included. It's just so easy. I love doing it this way because I can go from no cookies to cookies in like, I don't know, 20 minutes flat. It's kind of amazing. The other thing is it's actually a half batch of cookies, so it makes it so that I don't have as many leftovers to eat later. When making these mixes, I usually make 6 jars of them at a time. Today I'm doing the chocolate chip cookie recipe. I have a couple other cookies that I also do, but this is the one I'm doing today. I'll start by putting in my chocolate chips. I just put those right in the bottom of the jar. And I like to do a little bit of variety sometimes. So I wanted to show you some of the things that I actually do. And one of those is cinnamon chips. Those can be really good. I mean, really, when it comes to this recipe, it's just a good basic recipe. So whatever you want to try adding to the cookies, it's kind of fun. This is Butterfinger Bits, and I'm actually doing 2 jars of that today. I kind of like trying the different candy bars and different things in them. I found that Snickers works well, but only if you cut it in small bits, and anything that has a lot of caramel will tend to melt and potentially burn. And I've got some white chocolate chips today as well. For my last jar, I'll actually be taking some Dove Valentine hearts that are the milk chocolate, and I'll be chopping those up as opposed to like my chocolate chips that are bittersweet. This gives it a little bit different flavor, and it's kind of fun because if you go after Valentine's Day or the other holidays, a lot of times you can find good deals on the candies, and it works so great for this. I think the worst part is just opening up all the little candy wrappers. A lot of times this is when I'll pull the kids in to help me. They don't usually mind taking off the wrappers. I lose a few candies along the way, but that's all right. I then quarter all of these little hearts, and essentially I'll have a chocolate chunk cookie. So then I add my little chocolate chunks to the jar as well. And that's 1 cup worth of all of those. Sometimes I'll do less. I'll do, like only half of a cup. Just whatever I kind of feel like that day. Next, I place in my walnuts. Those are optional. And for these varieties, I'll actually only put them in the 2 that have chocolate in it. And for my walnuts, I like them to be pretty big. So I just kind of crush them up in my hand as I put them into my measuring cup so that I can get that half of a cup of walnuts, but they're not going to be really fine. I like to be able to taste the nuts. And then I'll add that into my jar that has just my regular chocolate chips. And I'll do another half of a cup for my chocolate chunk. Now that I have all my extra bits in the jar, I go on to my basic ingredients. Next, I put in my flour, and I'll do 1 cup in each jar for starters. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of wheat flour in here as well. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling that day, make it a little bit healthier. Generally speaking, I can get away with throwing a little bit of wheat flour into a cookie and the kids don't even notice it. You can see why it makes sense to do this in bulk because I can go through and add the same thing to each of them. Then I do 2 tablespoons of flour. And when I get to the tablespoons, if I'm using a wide mouth jar, I don't necessarily use the funnel. Usually if I'm gonna do the wheat flour, this is where I do that. I'll do 2 tablespoons of wheat flour. You could do, really anything. You could do coconut flour, you could do oat flour, any number of things. The next step is to add half of a teaspoon of salt to each of the jars. The last time I made this, I had my 9-year-old helping me, and he missed a couple of jars for some of the flour, and so it ended up being a really interesting mix. And then I add half of a teaspoon of baking soda. Usually I like to count as I go. It's a little bit harder doing it with the video because I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I know that if I've done 6, that I've done all my jars and I haven't skipped any. Then I'll add 6 tablespoons of white sugar, which is the same as 1/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons. So first I'll go through with the 1/4 of a cup. And now I'll add the 2 extra tablespoons. This is where it's a little bit harder because you can't see that you haven't done the sugar already. So kind of important to keep track of which one you're doing. It's not as pretty to do the white sugar on top of the white flour. You would think that you'd want to do the levels and have the brown sugar in there. But the problem is that the brown sugar gets dried out if it's too close to the flour, and then it gets really hard. So you need to separate it with the sugar. So my last step for the jar is to do the brown sugar. And it's the same, 6 tablespoons. So 1/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons. And then I add my 2 tablespoons. And for the ones that have the nuts in them, they're pretty close to the top. The other ones give you a little bit more wiggle room. And then I'll place on my lids. Really, you could do it in any kind of an airtight container. The important thing is that it be airtight. I've even done it in bags for a friend of mine. And then I'll place these in a cool, dry, dark location like my pantry and use them in the next 3 months. If it's after 3 months, then the brown sugar sometimes starts to get a little bit dry and clumps up. So now I want to show you how you actually use the cookies in the jar. Super easy. All you need is a stick of butter, 1 egg, and some vanilla. This is so great. Even my daughter, when she was 5 years old, figured out how to do the cookies. She would put it all together. I would help her bake it, but she would just go to the cupboard and get it herself. It was kind of amazing. She's kind of a go-getter anyways. The first step is to take my 1 stick of butter, or 1/2 of a cup, and get it nice and softened. I could do this by just putting it in the bowl and letting it sit for a couple of hours, but it's a little bit easier to put it in the microwave, even though I don't like using the microwave too much. I usually put it in there for about 45 seconds to a minute. I want it really soft, but I don't want it completely liquid. So you can see some of my butter melted, but not all of it, but it's nice and soft, and I can squish it really easily. So the next step is to add my 1 egg and my 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla. I actually never measure it. I just kind of put just a little bit in, what looks right to me. You could measure it though if you wanted. And then I mix those all together. I want to make sure that I get that yolk nice and mashed up. But I actually want a couple of little chunks of the butter. I don't want it to be fully creamed, because then when I'm eating the cookies, occasionally just a little flake of butter taste will hit your tongue. Oh, it's so good. It's like the difference between eating a hamburger and being able to taste the different flavors on your tongue versus putting it into a blender and tasting it. Just different. So I've got those nice little butter flakes in there. And now I want to just add my sugars. And the way I do that is I tip my jar and I just kind of encourage the sugar part to come out. If I miss a little bit of the sugar in there, it's fine. If a tiny bit of the flour comes out, it's fine. But generally speaking, I want to get the majority of my sugars in with my wet ingredients. And then I cream them together. If I have any chunks of brown sugar, this is when I want to get those nice and mushed up. But I don't really want to get those little chips of butter mushed up, just like we talked about earlier. Now that that's creamed in well, I'll add my flour and my salt and my baking soda. So all of my white stuff there in the center. I just don't really want to add the nuts and the chips yet. Some of them might come out and some of the flour might stay in the jar, but for the most part. And then I mix in the flour well. I think I really like this recipe just because I can go to the cupboard. I don't have to look at a recipe book at all because I know it's an egg, a stick of butter, and a little vanilla. So now that that's mixed in, I dump in the rest of my jar and give it a good stir. And look at how easy that was to throw together. If it's a hot day, you may want to consider putting your dough in the refrigerator for 15 or 20 minutes, just so that that butter can get a little bit firmer, depending on how soft you had gotten it earlier. And then I just take my cookie scoop and I place it on my trays. I kind of like using the cookie scoop because it makes all the cookies the same size, which isn't really that important as far as eating them, but for cooking them, they're all going to get done at the same time if they're all the same size, or at least relatively close. Then I'll bake these in the oven at 350 degrees for anywhere from 7 to 8 minutes. I want it to be still just a tiny bit shiny on the top, but not completely doughy in the middle. So then I remove them from the oven when the outside edge is nice and golden brown. There's a little bit of golden brown on some of the raised portions, and it's just the tiniest bit of shiny left over in that very top center portion. And then I'll let them rest for 2 minutes. This is actually kind of important because this is how you get that nice chewy cookie. It continues to cook on that hot pan for those 2 minutes. Now that it's cooled, one of the ways to see if it's nice and chewy is if the dough has kind of fallen down around those chocolate chips. So now I'll use my spatula to move it to a wire rack. You don't have to make a chewy cookie like I did. You can always make it a little bit crisper. I have a friend of mine who really enjoys to have a nice crisp cookie, and that's fine too. It's all personal preference. I think it's time for a taste tester now. You know, you can't not do that. It's perfect. The lovely thing about this recipe is I feel like it's even good after everything has cooled down. A nice, gooey, hot chocolate chip cookie is lovely, but the true test is if a couple hours later you come back and eat it and you enjoy it just as much.